that's another thing. Is like, how do you go through these times? How do you talk about this? Simultaneously always question your own beliefs, your own convictions. But my conclusion was basically that I'm so deeply committed and convinced about what I'm doing that I would say it's borderline delusional. But at the same time, there are a lot of rugs along the way. There's a lot of empty promises along the way. So I think it's a super tough industry to survive. And I also think surviving in crypto is the single most underrated achievement.
Welcome to Passageways. I'm Lex here with Michael, better known as Cryptocito, who is an incredible creator and influencer in the blockchain space. You've been in this space since like 2017 with a Bitcoin white paper, building communities from Shanghai to Medellin. Now you're in Dubai. Really just a huge positive influence from my perspective on the communities and creators around the blockchain space. Super excited to talk today and hear more of your experience.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the kind intro, and always good to be back chatting with you.
Heck yeah, brother. Yeah, so we've been hanging out with Cryptocito for a long time now, and always cool to hear your perspective. I feel like you've got a really unique take. You've touched on a lot of different kinds of Web3 communities, blockchain communities. And I'm just curious to dig into some of the unique challenges of being a creator in this space. You want to just touch on that high level first? Like, what are some of the hardest things you're facing? You're putting content out on YouTube regularly. You're putting content out on Twitter, obviously. Where's the rub? What's the hard stuff right now?
There's a lot. I think also, especially if you're a creator in the finance or crypto space, right, where you're also creating content that is about money in the end of the day as well, right? And crypto is an extreme version of that because it's just so fast and things can literally go either way in no time, right? So I think one of the biggest challenges is to truly like find a rhythm and find a middle ground to like, how do you communicate what you're doing, right? And like to be, obviously by nature, as you mentioned, like I'm in crypto for a long time, so I'm deeply convinced about the future of Web3, about, you know, us like disrupting banks tomorrow and like building this new crypto native era. But at the same time, there are a lot of rugs along the way. There's a lot of empty promises along the way. There's a lot of fake people, like in any industry. I don't even think that's a crypto native thing. It's just crypto probably attracts a lot of these people faster, but then they also get washed out faster. But as a creator in that space, I think that's one of the most challenging things, is like to figure out who you actually trust, especially for someone like me who does not have a technical background, right? For me, it always takes longer to understand those concepts and what it actually means, and is that even feasible, is that realistic? And I think throughout my journey as a creator, I fell into a lot of traps, and I think that's part of the journey, right? It's part of learning, the learning curve. But yeah, I would say that's probably the most important one. Then also going through times like we went through in the past 2 or 3 years, especially in the segment that I'm focused on with Cosmos, right, which was also a bit of an underperformer relative to the Solanas out there or other ecosystems, right? Cosmos was always lagging a little bit behind. It's also more of a technical, fundamental ecosystem. So I think that's another thing, is like, how do you go through these times? How do you talk about this and like simultaneously always question your own beliefs, your own, convictions? But my conclusion was basically that I'm so deeply committed and convinced about what I'm doing that I would say it's borderline delusional. And I think, especially if you're a crypto creator, you kind of have to have a little bit of delusion, because it's such a crazy industry. It's so wild. Like a lot of these things we're literally just figuring out, and even governments, right? Like they're just figuring this stuff out. The laws are being written around it. So I guess you have to be ultra committed to this, which is almost a little bit of a delusion that you need to bring in order to kind of survive, right? So I think surviving is one of the things, and but I would say those are like the most challenging things for me personally. And yeah.
No. That makes perfect sense. The cyclical nature of it, right? Because there's very real seasons to this. I'm sure something similar happened when you were describing the fact that it's a financial industry, right? Blockchain, crypto. It made me think that like I bet there are some overlaps between political creators and crypto creators because of the emotion involved, right? And then also it could be cyclical, right? Like for instance, when an election's coming up, you're going to get more viewership for certain types of political content. Like there can be some seasonality to it as well. Yeah, no, all of that makes perfect sense. I'd be curious, what is for people who don't know that crypto is anything other than Bitcoin? It's interesting because not only are you a blockchain creator, but you have niched down into, you've spoken to a lot of different areas, right? Like I see you speaking into a lot of different communities and talking to a lot of different types of people. But the Cosmos community is, for those who are not aware, a smaller community within the overall blockchain space. You compared it to some things like Solana. Solana is a very popular community. It's larger comparatively. What is that like? Like, do you find that like digging into a niche like that, as a creator, I know that helps to dig into a niche, but it's a two-edged sword, right? It's like you want to speak to people and they need to know you're talking to them, but how could it be difficult if you've picked a niche that is small, right? Like,
Yeah.
I say, what's the balance there?
I would say like I kind of organically slipped into this, right? I didn't like when I started making videos, I didn't think like, okay, now I need to specialize my content to become an expert in something. Like I just kind of naturally slipped into this. But then as I did that, I was like, okay, I love Cosmos for what it stands for. And I also would say it's more of a philosophy about crypto, which is basically that, we're building the internet of blockchains, and there will be different flavors, there will be different verticals, industries, use cases, optimized for different areas of the industry, right? And whether that's AI or Bitcoin or metaverse or NFTs or anything, right? But yeah, I kind of slipped into this organically, but then of course over the years, because I was also one of the first ones to do this alongside Liam, he was also around back in the day. Other than that, I think it was pretty much general purpose content around, what is Bitcoin, what is crypto, very like kind of entry level. And I am not even like an OG creator in crypto, I would say. I started in like 2019, 2020. So there were people that started way before that. But I think even back then it was still kind of very general purpose. But then one of my drivers why I started the channel in the first place was also because at that time there was peak maximalism around Bitcoin only and everything else is going to die, right? So I started a channel to also kind of speak about other things that I believe were true at the time. And then 2020, 2021 was a time when some of these ideas actually played out, right? And there was this huge bull run and things went up, altcoins exploded. There was this huge altcoin season, which obviously was a massive boost to my channel, to my visibility, and also gave me options, right, to build upon that, right? So out of the kind of channel, I built up a proper media company, I built up a conference platform, I built up a validator and all these kind of things, branching a little bit out also into different ventures, but kind of deriving from what I was originally doing. And then obviously now a couple of years later, right, the market is in the exact opposite direction. Altcoins are dead. People are super, frustrated about crypto. And it's kind of a little bit back to like, Bitcoin is a safe haven and all the altcoins are a bit risky and
Right.
sketchy and those kind of things.
Dude, even Anson's out here pushing Bitcoin on the timeline. When I see like Anson is heavy on Bitcoin, I'm like, ooh, yeah, we're in an interesting spot in the market here.
Yeah, and I feel like there was a similar time in 2020 when, again, Bitcoin maximalism was at a peak. But for me, that exactly was the opportunity to look at altcoins. And I think right now we're in a similar phase of the market. And I could be totally wrong. Like probably also most altcoins will go to zero, will vanish, and will go away. But I think there will be a lot of innovation, like the innovation and the opportunities, I believe personally, are in altcoins. And that has also been one of my core beliefs that carried me through this bear market. Another thing I also wanted to mention is like the social layer, right? And the internet is just a very brutal place because there's a lot of people that just, they like to throw shit, they like to make stuff up, and obviously it fits into the persona sometimes, and like people just like to blame on others or whatever. And like I understand also as creators, sometimes we are in the front, or all the time basically, we're in the front seat, right? We're in the first line. So whenever something goes wrong, now pair that with the fact that crypto is all about money, and some people actually invest into coins, even if we all have the disclaimers. We all say like don't invest just because we talk about this or whatever. People still do that, and obviously that is also a double-edged sword, I would say. But yeah, other than that, I'm very proud of how far we came, how far you came as well as a founder in the space. You're still there, and yeah, I think those are really, in the end of the day, also the people that I truly care about, right? The people that have this long-term commitment and are not just here one-hit wonders, come for a quick spotlight and then bounce off in the sunset. We hear from them again.
Totally. I'll say, frankly, as a builder, right, building a platform, building Passage, I feel like it's easier than the creators have it, easier than the speculators have it. I'll tell people pretty regularly, like, I'm not a great speculator. Like, I've made some good bets, I bought Solana at some pretty cool price points. But I've also got a family to feed, right? So like, it's a different game, right? And it's not what I'm good at. I really love the building element of it, and building's always fun, right? Like if you're building something, especially if you're building something people fundamentally care about or need, it is easier to weather a lot of different market conditions, right? But yeah, definitely as a creator and as a speculator, you see those like that emotional crazy where like you've got an audience that's like they're trying to put the blame on somebody, right? Because of course it's not their fault for making this terrible financial decision. But so the first line of blame falls on like the content creators, the educators. But I like what you said too about you're talking about how you got into Cosmos specifically as a community within blockchain, and what it takes to be a blockchain creator. And you're talking about you described it as delusion, but I would say there's a certain amount of faith there, of hope, of believing in something that hasn't come to fruition yet, right? Like this is a really powerful concept, the concept of ownership, the concept of decentralization, financial freedom. These are really, moving concepts. Yeah, there's the concept of the pump, right, and just getting a big return. But believing in that and seeing how this technology can bridge that gap, that is huge for being a creator, right? Being able to speak into this space, but then also that dictates where you end up in this space, right? It's like, if this is the thing, right, that you believe is going to accomplish those hopes and goals for the ecosystem, right? Whether it's IBC, which is Cosmos technology, the Cosmos blockchain ecosystem, then that's where you're going to fall into. That's where you're going to have conviction, right? That makes for good content, right? If you're just kind of like pumping or shouting out whatever people are willing to sponsor, then yeah, you're not going to have a great time as a content creator. You're probably going to bail as soon as the returns are low and there aren't 10 teams vying to spend $15,000 for a sponsored video, whatever. So yeah, that conviction or delusion, frankly, I think that's an apt description, is important. And I would say that's important and for any creator, is you have to believe in what you're talking about, right? Whether or not you can see it at the time. And that can look like delusion, right? But it's really a type of hope, a type of faith, right? That like, okay, I can't see it right now, but I've had this important experience. of this concept. I can see where things could go, right? And as educators, creators, builders, we kind of have to bridge that gap for people and be like, okay, yeah, you don't see it yet, but this is how I can see this getting there in time, right? Which takes a lot of patience, going through the various market cycles before you either get proven wrong or proven right.
True, yeah, but also at the same time, right? People want to hear tickers. They want to hear, what projects do I need to look at, right? And as a cryptocurrency content creator and cryptocurrency investor, sometimes, if I speak about things on my channel, I happen to speak about cryptocurrencies as well. And 90% of them, again, going back to that crazy industry, early days, all these kind of things, many of them will most likely fail, and many of them will probably also fail because they have bad intentions, right? They actually want to grift, scam, or just rug, right? At the same time, I also think a lot of projects fail because they lack a business sense. They don't have the right product timing. They don't have the right marketing strategies to cater a product to the correct audience. So I think it's a super tough industry to survive. And I also think surviving in crypto is the single most underrated achievement, whether that's for a creator, founder, builder, anybody, because it's just such a fast industry that will literally swallow, how do you say it? Swallow you up and throw you out and forget you, right? And then there will be someone else. There will be a new project that will raise $10 million. There will be a new content creator that will fill that gap. So it's always, you always have to be at the pulse of the next thing, right? And it's just so fast moving. There's new narratives, anything, right? But yeah, at the same time, as you mentioned, right, we're also still at the same time trying to build up a sustainable business, right? And you and me, we have both made this industry our career. This is our career decision. That's where we're all in, right? If crypto was hacked tomorrow, we would probably have a big issue, a big problem. But at the same time, monetization, sustaining, growing a business, hiring more people, doing the taxes, all the corporate stuff that comes with it, the bureaucratic stuff. That's another thing that is probably also one of the least talked about things. And, I think crypto eventually will get more and more mature. There will also be more legit ways to generate revenue, to have more reliable partners, right? Especially as a content creator, it's super tough. And we've tried out different things, right? You mentioned sponsors earlier as well. Right. Typically, if your only model is to raise sponsorships or anything from crypto projects, like the scams are the ones that scream the loudest and they want to give you all the money. But then you also, of course, want to kind of protect your reputation. So it's super tough to navigate through this. In the end of the day, we're here to also learn. We're here to share our experiences as we're on that way. And that's my main philosophy on the journey. But I also think, like in your case, I think you and I were pretty similar here, and some others that we both know, but having people around you in your company, here's your family, but also in your company, people you work with, people you're on the same page with, right? Super important to carry you through such times, right? And you and I, every now and then, on and off camera, whatever. But I think just exchanging thoughts and staying updated on each other's sides, I think that is also a very important thing that gets us through these tough times.
Oh yeah, community is huge. Having a strong community, both of builders around you, people who are creating alongside you, as well as the community you're building for, is everything. And then what does that look like, sustaining this as a creator through all these different markets? What do you feel like sells right now, right? In terms of bringing value to the market, like how do you make this sustainable? I know you're doing a lot of things too, right? And that's part of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's not easy. And like, if you speak specifically about like monetizing through deep bear markets, there were many months where we did not have a revenue, right? And there were just many months where I was just like covering that from my own money or just to get through these times, because I also don't want to like lay off people or, I don't want to give up either, right? So I know that like, if we survive these times, we'll come out of this strong. We just have to keep pushing. We have to keep going. We have to keep iterating, maybe try different products, right? So we did a couple of different product launches here and there. And some of them work better, some of them work less good. But I think that's really what you got to do in a bear market, is to find a way to stick to your values, to stick to your lane as well, right? I didn't end up, I don't know, chasing meme coins on pump.fun. That wouldn't be me, right? That wouldn't be to
Yeah.
what who I am and what I do, why I started what I'm doing. And others did, and I think that's also fine, right? Like, as I said earlier, the market changes, and sometimes you have to go. And if that means to entirely cut off your previous, style and what you did before and just go all in on something completely different, then that's also totally fine. But for me, I constantly question, where are we going? Are we still on track? Is it still joyful, right? That's also the thing. Like, do I still enjoy doing that or not? And if the answer to that would be no, like, I would have stopped. But I still love doing that, and I think, yeah, it's just all about like surviving those times and then coming out of it, and then things will end up well.
No, that's huge. And that's so funny because actually, just in our last interview, that was a big theme. This is so, I was talking to Corey Williams last week, or earlier this week, basically. He was saying something similar about the larger category of creators as well. And this is probably just true of so many, it's probably just a human experience, right? But he was talking about how a lot of people get to this point of success where they start to lose their purpose because the success itself becomes part of the purpose. But they have to go through this kind of like reinventing themselves or like rediscovering themselves type of process. But it's an up and down. It's cyclical, right? And in crypto, you can see that through like the market phases, right? As a creator. But I think this fundamental principle across all creator realms is really just that, like, and this applies to businesses. It applies to like, and it's encapsulated in that phrase, time in the market is more important than timing the market. So like just being in the market longer, just being in your creative field longer, investing more time is always what's going to produce the best results than trying to get in at the right time. Like as a content creator, I'm sure the advice I've heard across the board is like, just get started, right? Don't wait till you have the perfect camera. Don't wait till you have the perfect, idea or the perfect thing. Get started, and that will help you discover those elements, right? And of course, I've seen that. And that's been my encouragement throughout the whole building cycle as well, is that like, hey, if we can survive whatever's happening in the market and just keep creating the thing and connecting with the people who need this, right? Like you can't create in a vacuum, right? You don't want to be like, that's again where that community element really becomes an important point. But you can't create in a vacuum because you don't want to be making something nobody wants. That is really, really important. But as long as you're continuing to create and connect with the people who you're building for or you're creating for, then yeah, it's just about getting through these difficult times. And always, 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 if you can get through whatever your grind is in your creative process and your building process, you're going to come out stronger, right? Whether that's you becoming more resilient, whether that's a new opportunity arising in the market, like just everything trends towards survival is what changes the game for different people, right? It's like, yeah, I've just seen that across the board, that it's like, it's not going to happen all at once. You just got to be persistent. And that does require, again, it connects to all these things that you're saying, right? Like you got to have that delusion, that hope, right? To get through the times where it's not really fulfilling, it's not really rewarding.
Yeah, I think the delusion is probably more of a crypto native thing that I just thought about a lot. You have to be crazy to do this, right? And to stick around doing it, especially when the market is telling you that what you're saying is currently not, no one cares about. Like the price keeps going down, right? And you can be excited about the evolution of the IBC protocol in Cosmos as much as you want, but the market doesn't care, right? Atom keeps going down.
Yeah, right.
So when it happens for a month, you're like, okay, cool. If it happens for a year, 2 years, 3 years, then people start throwing in the towel, right? And they start giving up. So you kind of, you kind of just pull through this, and then again, like you said, eventually, if you are, of course, like if this would all go to zero now tomorrow, like that would probably be taking a big hit, and then I would also think like, okay, where do I go? But that's why I say, like, you have to have this deep conviction. borderline delusion to say, okay, this is going to work out eventually. It might not happen tomorrow, but eventually it will. And I'm here for it. And if it happens, then I think the exact opposite will happen, right? And similar how things exploded for me personally and with my follower count and reach and all these metrics that you can measure, right? Like 2021, 2022 was crazy. But that was because I was all in on that thesis. I was all in on that belief that Cosmos is going to work out, and it did back then. Now it had a bit of a, a dry run for the past couple of years, but I think it will come back, and I'm here for it, and I guess you too. So
yeah, amen, absolutely. And again, I really do think that principle applies across, building across a number of categories. Is that like, until you've lost all hope, like you have to be able to believe in something beyond what seems rational, or else you're not going to survive beyond anybody else. Like the people who really make impactful change, they saw something that it was really hard to see, right? Like you said, this borderline delusion. And so you've got to have conviction. For one, it makes it fun, right? It's no fun if you don't really believe in what you're building or what you're creating around.
I would also say that I also thought about this, and I covered this also in a recent video, that if we stick to crypto now, creating in crypto over the past 3 years, because crypto has been in a bear market since basically 2022, right? That's 3 years. We're in the third year now of the bear market. But in 2022, when Terra collapsed, that was the first event where we could attribute the prices going down to an event that everyone saw, right? Then we saw FTX collapsing. We saw Circle's USDC depegging to 91 cents, right? We saw all these things that were public and the whole world spoke about it, that we could attribute why crypto is going down and why sentiment is bad, right? And it happened in 2023 as well, parts of 2024. But then when there was this election and there was more bullish news around the technical side of things, no more exploits, no more large mess ups, the market still kept going down for almost a year now. And suddenly you don't have anything that you can attribute to why the market is going down. And I think the past 8 months in crypto have been, at least for me, a lot harder than the previous 2 years, even though we had this catastrophic event. But in the past 8 months, we didn't really have any large public, mess up that caused this huge, crazy bleeding out of all, especially altcoins, right? Bitcoin at the same time doing well, but I think that was even a tougher time. It's like when the market is silent, when things just slowly bleed out, sentiment dries out, everything is like people they just don't care anymore, right? Many people. But yeah, I think we're at the tail of this phase now, and that's the thing which is specific to crypto. I think for other creators, there's probably also some volatility in terms of what is currently hot and whatnot, and of course macro also has an impact there, especially for finance creators. But in crypto, it's just insanely volatile, very fast, and you can see that reflect on all the social metrics, on your portfolio, of course, on sentiment, on how right? It's it's a wild place.
No, heck yeah. And being able to identify specifically why is this happening, right? If you can't identify the why, it's easy to attribute it to the wrong thing and be and probably a lot of those cataclysmic events were probably not the whole why, that's the scapegoat. That's the thing that gets blamed for why the market's dumping. But it's not just that, right? There's so many other factors that go into it. And there just has to be this cyclic behavior, right? There can't be any growth. If everyone's buying in, right? It's not sustainable. It's a Ponzi scheme at that point. There has to be these cycles of, belief and regression. The fear and greed, cycles. And there's, these news events take some of the blame for that. And there is, a good amount of blame to be had there. But then when there's nothing to point to, it's easy to be like, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this is just not going to work, right? So that is, I totally see how that's the easiest way to kind of dissipate, public faith or perception. Is just well, everything's going right, but the market's still down. So now what? right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So, dude, I've got a bonus experience for you here. We can actually wander around a bit. There are 3 treasure chests hidden throughout this. So this is the environment we built for our first Cosmoverse side event, which for those who don't know, Cosmoverse is Cryptocito's baby in educating the world on Cosmos, the Cosmos blockchain ecosystem, and it's traveled across the world, right? From Median to Dubai. You guys have done a lot of, yep, right, yeah. So yeah, but this was an environment we built out in honor of the Dubai event last year. We did some fun speaking.
Where
What's that?
the shisha?
I know, right? Yeah, that's the one thing we're missing here. We'll have a virtual smoke sometime soon. But there are 3 chests. So one of them's pretty easy to find, but the other 2 are a little bit sneakier. So we just need to walk and chat.
Okay. Where do I just follow you, or where are you?
No, you lead the way. This is your adventure now. I know where the things are. I put them in here. I will say they're all pretty close to this this building, so you don't have to go too far.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd be curious. What's that?
That's a sick venue.
Yeah, dude, it's been a lot of fun, man. Creating this is again why I say that like the whole building environment has just been it's like easier than being a content creator, because as a content creator, so this was the easy one. Now you know what they look like.
Okay.
So if you go up to it and press.
Nice. Wow, you came a long way. I remember being in one of the first worlds.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. It's been a blasty blast. There's been a lot of things going on. And again, like what's cool about being a builder is like, you know, the creative energy doesn't stop, right? Like the creative energy is people are still making stuff, right? People are still buying stuff. So it makes it a little bit easier for us, frankly, compared to being a speculator. Everything's its own grind, right? So it's hard to compare. It's all unique, but
yeah. Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, this is where we're going to be doing. I mean, not this specifically, but we just hanging out during this whole stage of the market.
Now I'm underwater, like our crypto bags. Go through the water?
You can go through the water, and actually, you sound different underwater.
Oh, nice.
Oh no! So actually, we're hearing each other in Google, so it's not gonna. You're not gonna hear the environment sounds different, but you're not here. Now you can see what I sound like underwater.
Nice. There we are.
Boom.
There you go. Yeah. So that's
if you find all three, I'll do a passage giveaway for your followers. We'll give away some passage tokens.
That's pressure now.
Yeah. Okay, so you found one that was lower. You found one that was on the ground. Now I'm going to advise you to look a little bit higher.
Okay.
This one's going to be vertical. Let's find out.
You need to add a flying function.
Oh yeah.
Can I go up there? Oh yes.
You're making it. We're actually like in 19 minutes, we're going to be doing our community call, and we're doing another scavenger hunt inside a different map inside the dojo.
Nice. I definitely need a Cito shisha bar.
Oh heck yeah! I'm down for it.
Wait, I don't see anything up here.
How far did you get up? How did you get? I didn't even realize you could get up that way. You did it, man.
Am I stuck somewhere? No.
No, you're good. You just got to jump.
Okay, I can see it.
Yeah.
There we go. I made a whole round.
Okay, bam, it's official. Now we have to do a
Oh,
passage giveaway for
nice.
Cito's followers.
There we go. Done. 3 and 3.
Now, here's the thing. What's so fun about this? I'm just gonna show off some of the fun new features. If you go to the settings and avatar, you can already connect your Passage NFTs.
Mm.
Now, not all of the NFTs have their own customizations yet. So we'll have like, Strange Clan customizations and things like that, where you could just be your Strange Clan character in here. But this is one of the NFT customizations, this little like astronaut suit.
Mm.
And yeah, basically this is all connected to the Passage blockchain, where it's just the beginning, just kind of the tip of the iceberg. But like, there's so many fun things we can do where we can build out little gamified experiences where you open those chests and then you get an NFT that's a new customization for your community. And we've got cool communities using this in like the base ecosystem, with Metacadia just announced their Passage World. Neo Tokyo and the Ethereum ecosystem has been using this for community events. So there's a lot of unique opportunities for the blockchain folks and for the non-blockchain folks to just do something that's interactive, that feels meaningful, but also creates this sense of like, you're talking about like, how important community is for creators, for builders in these ecosystems in blockchain. And like, that is what we've seen. Like, that's been kind of our huge support throughout all these different stages of the market. It's just like the strong community, right? And people who, because every single week, I mean, over the last year, every single week, we're in Passage together as a community, whatever else is going on. It's a really cool experience. And when you're surrounded by the right people, there's so much opportunity to build the right thing.
No, it's definitely cool. Like I said, I think even years ago when I was in the first versions of the world, I was like, this is cool. Like, this is just such a different experience. And again, like also when it comes to building communities, all these things, I think this is the next step for sure. And adding NFTs in it and building a whole marketplace around it, I think that makes sense. As definitely the future. Honestly, I just even figured out how to use the bird's eye view. Like, I was in the other mode first, but this is so cool. Like, yeah, very, very nice. I'm very excited to see this. Like, yeah, you came a long way, man. So,
dude, amen. It's been an
cool.
awesome journey. It's been epic having you along this journey with us, man. For anybody who is just getting into the Web3 ecosystem, I would say, as a creator, just to sign off, what would be your number one advice?
That's a tough one. To be honest, I mean, there's always the easy ones, like just get started, right? But I think,
right.
Yeah, like, I think at this point, crypto is so niche in so many ways. I think it definitely makes sense to pick your field that you're interested in mostly, right? If you're more technical, if you're more around a specific vertical or niche, and like start from there. And like, there's now a lot of communities within communities in crypto, right? Like,
yes.
So I think it doesn't make sense to maybe join an existing established community already. And there's so many great people, so many even smaller creators, right? I think a lot of people always talk about the big ones only, but smaller creators like myself that are specific to one niche or ecosystem. And I think you'll also manage to probably have a lot more meaningful relationships and connections with those people in that community. So I think that will probably be the first best thing to do, is like find your vibe, find your community, find what you're also identifying your convictions with, and get started there.
Amen. I 100% agree with that. If you find your people, then that's everything, because those are the people who are going to support you, who give you feedback. And you need both, right? You need people who are going to push you forward, but also hold you back from making the wrong plays, and people who you can connect with. So it's huge. Find your people. And where can people find you, Cryptocito?
Mostly on Twitter, YouTube, at Cryptocito. That's my main spots.
Yep. Do it. Cryptocito. Hit up
Yeah,
my boy Michael, and yeah, man, really looking forward to the next stage of this journey for all of us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Peace.
Cheers. See you.